Hey guys, welcome to Podiatry Practice Mastery. Don here. I want to talk a little bit today about a request. This is a request I have from, he's actually a friend, a patient. His name is Joe. Joe went on a journey, and probably because of me and his own hard work, he was able to reverse his diabetes. And I think I brought up the idea of some books like Jason Fong and some things about intermittent fasting, but really he took it to a whole new level. He lost tons of weight, got off his insulin, and is doing really great. And so he's one of those success stories. I talk to a lot of patients about intermittent fasting and ketogenic diet, and Joe's one that really did it. Now Joe, because of this, it's transformed his life so much. Joe is going into coaching. And he asked me to give him some help with the marketing aspect of his coaching endeavors. And I just think what this is going to help everyone. That's why I wanted to do a podcast on it. So I guess the question is, we're going to look here for Joe or for anyone. Like I'd like you to think this isn't specific if you're a coach, right? This can be any person that's wanting to market their business. I've made a lot of mistakes over the years, and I've wasted a lot of money and a lot of time, and I've kind of taken the long road, and I would like to shorten that road for everyone. And if I was going to start over again, as Joe is, so he has no clients, or he said he has 4 neighbors that want his coaching. He is setting up the business of coaching other people. He's taking the courses, getting all the certificates, doing his website. All those things are great. What would I do if I was in Joe's footsteps? Okay, so the first thing that I would do is I would read one book a week on marketing. I would go to Audible, and I would sign up for Audible, and I would read one book a week, because that's the easiest way to learn from other people. I would probably start with some of the stuff from Dan Kennedy, and then you can get into some of the other stuff. But you start with one book from, let's say, Dan Kennedy, and then it'll recommend other books, or you can look for the best books on marketing. So the first thing is I would listen to one book, okay? And that's gonna, and then the second thing I would do is I would buy a journal to write down your ideas as you're listening to this podcast and other things. Why books versus like podcasts? The issue is with podcasts or other types of things, you kind of go down the rabbit hole, and there's a lot of fluff. Okay, I'm not saying there's a lot of fluff in my podcast, but there is. It's a lot easier for example, if you're listening, you could get everything that I'm saying here in my 30-day practice blueprint, okay? That thing that I put together. You can go to Podiatry Practice Mastery, you can get it, but you might like listening to my voice and me talking to Joe today. But it's a lot easier to get a course or a book than it is to like listen to a whole bunch of podcasts or look at a whole bunch of websites, okay? Because you kind of go down a rabbit hole. So I would dedicate learning time. How much? I would say if you can dedicate an hour or two, and a key is when you're listening to audiobooks, listen to them at speeds of 1.5. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing, you have a journal. You're writing things down. Get a notebook. Write down all your ideas. Okay, those are the first two things. If I could do it over again, I would do that. Okay, now I'm going to kind of get into a little mindset thing. You might think this is funny, but when we try something new, we tend to fall into something called the gap. And the gap is where you realize all that you don't know. You realize, like, gosh, this is a big endeavor. There's a lot I don't know. I'm trying this out. So you get in what Dan Sullivan calls the gap. So Dan Sullivan is the guy that I get coached by. And so the other thing I would do is, as I'm writing my notes down, I would write down every day what I would pick 3 positive things you're grateful for, things that are going well, specific to that endeavor. It could be what you're learning. It could be what you're improving, things like that. So I would have like on your journal, I would do like one page of like gratitude. And so as you're doing this gratitude or positive focus, he calls it, it's going to keep your mind in the right place. So throughout your day, try to pick 3 things that you kind of learned or that are improved, because otherwise you'll get kind of stuck in this trap of where you're trying to learn everything and it's really hard. Okay, I know these are kind of they're kind of mindset things, but because the thing is, it's a struggle. So as you're dedicating, you're journaling, you're writing about what you're learning, you're doing this. Okay, so that's that aspect. The other aspect is, I would say, and this is what you're going to learn in all the marketing stuff, but once again, it's a lot easier to get from these other people. You need, first of all, you need a lead magnet. Okay, so basically you need something of great value so that people can get information, so you can give them. So Joe is going to be doing it on ketogenic and intermittent fasting. That's his coaching. So my recommendation for Joe would be, give out something of value about that topic. You could do a little PDF download about, I don't know, I you even showed it to me. It's a page on your website. You just basically take that page and you kind of spiff it up. And you would say, these are the 6 secrets to intermittent fasting, the 4 common misconceptions that people have, the 3 tools that you can use today, and all this stuff. So this is and I can help you feather it out more. But this is called, this idea came from Joe Polish, and this is called a Consumer Awareness Guide. Basically, if you Google Consumer Awareness Guide, Joe Polish, you can see an example of this. You can do the 5 misconceptions, the 3 problems that people have with losing weight, the 1 big key that I learned. And this is going to be your download, okay, that you're going to download. And now, once you have this thing made, now I would say get it done versus perfect. Okay, this is something I've made a lot of mistakes on as well. So you want to get it done. If it's only a Word document, that's fine. You have to just get it done, okay? Later on, you can send it over to Fiverr, Fiverr.com, and then they can lay it out pretty and things like that. You can put your logo on it, but first, just get it done. And I would say get it done in a day, okay? That's day number 1, okay? Get your lead magnet done, okay? Once that's done in day number 1, I would go to day number 2. Once again, progress, not perfection. Okay, this is a big mistake that I've made. Number 2, you need a place that they can download it. Okay, if you're doing this stuff, okay, I would say start with what's free and then go on to what's paid. Okay, start with what's free and then go on to what's paid. So what is free is something called MailChimp. MailChimp is free, up to 500 subscribers. So it's going to take you a little bit to get up to 500 people. And so what you do is you go to MailChimp.com, you download it, you get your free access for up to 500 people, you set it up. It can link, I think you're using Square, it can link to Square, and you put that on your website. And what you're going to have, and I think it even may be able to help you make a design on MailChimp. It has this, I think it's called Chipmonkey or something like that, where you can design stuff. If not, there's something else called Canva, Canva.com, okay? So day number 2, you're going to set up your email. So basically this is called an email responder. There's going to be a little link, get my whatever that thing is, and when they do it, they'll get an instant download. You'll send it to them in an email. And I would when I start this, and this is something I made a mistake in the past, I always do double opt-in. So basically you want to make sure that they can opt in for it. And they get, so basically they'll get an email and they'll click that email to actually get the download. Otherwise it might go into spam or something else like that. And also you should, in your first email to them, you ask them to whitelist you or to, just make sure it doesn't go into spam. Okay, so that's the first thing. That's day number 2. Okay, now once you give them that guide, it's probably a good idea in that guide in day number 1 to offer them your free consultation. So you need something free to give them. I know you're giving them the free guide, but when you're starting out, because you have no clients, I think it would behoove you to do a free consult, like a discovery call, whatever you want to call it, like discovery call to see if it's a good fit, 30 minutes or an hour, whatever you want. Offer that, and then within MailChimp, you can set up something called an autoresponder. So once they sign up for that list, you'll give that list, it's called a list, a name, you'll tag it, maybe as free download. And then that's day 1, and then day 2, you'll so you can pick out the days. That's instantaneous. Then on day 1, you'll send out a series of emails. What I would recommend on day 1, you would say, hey, just making sure you got it. Did you have any issues with it? Any problems downloading it? Hey, thanks for doing it. Joe, P.S. I have a few spaces. Once again, you want to use scarcity here. I have a few spaces for helping out clients, and I'm offering a free discovery call. Okay, I have a few slots. Here's a little link if you'd like to chat with me, or just reply to this email and ask me any questions that you might have. Because right now you're wanting to get this conversation going, and you're willing to offer this. So that's your day 1 email. Your day 2 email would be probably a similar thing, and then from then on you're going to have your emails. Okay, now you talked to me, Joe. You had a lot of ideas about doing blogs, about doing podcasts, about doing videos. A mistake I made in the past is I tried to do kind of everything and nothing really got done. So I learned this idea from Brendan Bouchard. You have to figure out what you like to do and then just reuse that content. Okay? So the easiest way is to make a video about something. You can do that right in Zoom. So Zoom, just record your screen or just talk. And then that video, you can download it as a podcast. You can download the audio as a podcast right within Zoom when you save it to the cloud or to your computer. And then you can also, and you may even be, when you're doing that video, you're just reading some notes from your blog that you wrote. So you want to write out your notes and then you post that as a blog. Okay, so that's the way you can, each one piece of content can actually be 3 pieces of content. If you want to do the blog, the YouTube, and the podcast. So podcast is done via Anchor. YouTube, you go to YouTube, and the blog, wherever you're going to host your blog. Now, you also talked about having Instagram and all these other things and Facebook. Once again, you take that same piece of content and you send it out to the other places. So there's a couple ways of doing that. You take a piece of your video and you cut a little section of the video out, that same thing, maybe the high point, you put that on Instagram. That same little piece of content, you can also paste it to YouTube, okay? So that's how you take the one piece of content and you paste it everywhere. So you don't need multiple pieces of content. You just take one piece of content you make and you do that. Now, how do I get my ideas for content? Well, I have my journal, right? So I'm writing down ideas. And you can write it out like day number 1, you want to talk about this, or week 1, week 2, week 3, and different things, and kind of put them in order of what you want to talk to people about and what you're passionate about, because you're passionate. I would certainly say probably on the first one, which would be your story, right? So everyone loves stories. So as much as you can tell stories, and there's a concept I learned from Russell Brunson. It's called the hook story offer. So basically, the hook is something like an image or a certain text or something that'll hook people, they'll be interested in. The story is basically how this happened to you, kind of what your story was. So people, if you tell them about, hey guys, you should eat 1 meal a day and do ketogenic, no one's going to listen to you if you just teach them. They have to know the backstory. They have to know like your struggle, what you went through. It was so difficult. You were on insulin, all this and all that. And then you read about this Jason Fong guy, or you saw Dr. Pelto, and I recommended to do fasting, and all of a sudden your life changed. And then your offer is, hey, by the way, I got this free download. Or they probably have the downloads, but hey, I have this free discovery call. Here's a time for the discovery call. Okay, so you set up a couple of those emails, and the key with emails, you have to have a call to action. So basically, the call to action is set up a discovery call. Hey, this is always the PS. You write a little bit in the email, or you give them a link to the YouTube or the blog or whatever. And the PS is, hey, PS, if you want to do a discovery call with me, here's my link. And then if you have email, just respond to this email too if you have a quick little question. Okay, so those are a couple of things I would do. So that's day number 3. I think we're up to day number 3, and write in a couple of those emails. The key with the emails, in my opinion, in content, is you want to do one piece of content a week. One piece of content a week. I know you want 500 pieces of content, but the key is consistency. So if you can do one piece a week, you're going to always have something to talk about. So you put that in your journal. You want to put like week 1, week 2, week 3. These are the ideas you want to talk about. And then you elaborate. You write out a little bit in your blog, and then you record that as a video. Pretty easy to do with Zoom. You pretty much just open up Zoom, put your whatever you wrote it on, your blog, put your blog there, and you just read through it, or you read some high points to make your video. You don't have to get like cool with slides or anything like that. Just talk. Okay. So that's day number 3. Day number 4, I know I talked about this, but you're going to have a way to set up these calls. Okay. So there's a couple ways to do the calls. If you want a big old website, which you probably don't want, it's called kajabi.com. That's what I use. It's a membership site, has all these emails, everything integrated, but it's more expensive. So if you're just starting out, I would probably recommend Calendly. This is the one that I use. And basically, you can set up like a discovery call, and then you give people accessibility in your calendar. Okay, so basically, what I would recommend, I know you told me you're going to be doing like cooking things, recording you cooking on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So my recommendation would be, so Tuesdays, Thursdays, you could do your cooking. On Wednesday, I would recommend, if you're going to record this stuff, you're going to record this, you may even want to do it live, right? You could record this every Wednesday, record your blog, do it live, send it out to your list. Hey, I'm doing a live thing, have it a live event, streamed everywhere else. If you want to do that, you can use StreamYard.com. So you stream it from Zoom, or right from StreamYard, stream it everywhere else. It goes to your Facebook, it goes to your Instagram, it goes to your YouTube, all at the same time. You stream it Wednesdays. So you cook Tuesdays, Thursdays, you stream Wednesdays, and then Mondays and Fridays, you put in your calendar that you're willing to meet with people, okay? Don't leave all your time open, okay? In the beginning, you have all the time and no money, right? But what you need to do is you need to have an impression of scarcity. So I'm a big advocate of limiting your time, okay? So you're going to, let's say you do your discovery calls on Mondays and Fridays, for example, or just Mondays or whatever, and you put some availability, okay? And so you would use some way of people getting access to your calendar, and then they sign up, okay? And then when they sign up, I would recommend sending maybe over a couple of questions, or just making sure they got your download, or other things like that, okay? So that's like day 4 would be setting that up, okay? And then, so you got people starting to schedule, starting to meet with you, and then you do your discovery call, and then based on your discovery call, I don't want to go too much into detail of this, but I think one of the big drawbacks of me as a podiatrist is I can't treat in groups. So if I could do it over again, I would do something that I could treat in groups. So my recommendation to you, Joe, if you're going to do these, I know you talked about these 8-week reboots or something like that, 8-week classes. My recommendation would be to set up these 8-week classes starting on certain dates and getting groups of people. So your first group might just be one person, but you want to call it a group and invite those other friends, okay? So a couple of details here. Sell your packages in groups. Okay, so let's say groups and limit, like let's say limit to 10 people. So for the next 8 weeks, these 10 people are going to get your cooking class on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and maybe you're going to do a live with them Zoom call on Wednesdays, just for example, because then Mondays and Fridays you're busy doing your initial screening of people. Once that, okay, and as you're filling those up, you fill them up, so you set them up like every 8 weeks, or let's say every 8 weeks, and then every 10 weeks, so you have a 2-week thing. Now, a cool tip is when you're selling people on this, you're going to say, hey, this course, I think you told me it was like $350. But if you refer another friend, I'm going to give you both, I don't know, $100 off or something like that. You and your friend get $100 off. Okay, something like that. So that's how you get referrals. Okay, so you offer a discount for them to refer a friend. So every friend, they get $100, and they could even do it for free if they refer 3 friends, right? But each of their friends is going to get $100 off, but we're limiting it at 10, and these are the dates that we're starting the classes. So on your website, you need to know, we're starting it in February. We're doing, let's say a class every 2 months. You start a class group, okay? Group for that price. I think group is much better. And the other thing I would do is then if people want individual attention, that's where you do individual coaching, but you're going to charge more for that. Okay, but group is much better if you can do that. Also, just so you know, Calendly, they also have group settings, so you could actually set it up with Calendly, all your coaching calls with them via Calendly, and you would sign them up. You would cap it at a certain number, but that's how you would get the referrals. Also, just another thought. This is something I didn't know in the beginning. Would be when you send that initial free guide to someone, okay. I would recommend within the first few days say, hey, if you liked this guide, if you're liking my content, I have a special bonus for you. And this is something I didn't do in the beginning, but I do it, as you can see in the 30-day blueprint, if you guys download that. I'd say, hey, please refer a friend, and have a link where I do just a Google form where they can put their email and your in the friend's email, and say, hey, if you refer a friend, I'm going to send you a special bonus, and I'm going to send an invite to whatever, to get this free packet that I gave you, or free resources, and they'll get the special bonus too. And then make the bonus, I don't know, maybe you have a cookbook for keto, or maybe you have a special cheat sheet, or it's just something else, but as a bonus. But that's how you get people to, or maybe your discount card for something else that they're going to need. Okay? And then, or the favorite apps to help with fasting, or just something like that. But that's how you get the referrals from them. So this is a good start. Sorry, it was kind of long-winded here, Joe. But I think this will really help you. And also anyone else that's starting their business, I think you're going to like these ideas. Okay, guys, once again, if you didn't get the 30-day practice blueprint, you can see a lot of these things I talk about in there. And until tomorrow, thanks.